In this video, I'll be taking a quick look at the Leatherman OHT. That's the one-handed tool. And it's a kind of a quirky Leatherman, not one you see too often, but it's definitely one of the more interesting ones. It's on the large side and has a retail price of about $90. So it's not super cheap, but not crazily expensive. It's called the OHT because you can open and close it with one hand, as you see there. And it's basically the pliers right here slide in and out when these little buttons here are pushed right here and right here. So you can just pinch it, slide it, and now it's a spring-loaded set of pliers that you could use one hand. And you can close it again by pinching it and sliding it. There is a lock here, right there. So when that's activated, it won't go out. Without it being activated, you can actually just slide this without really pushing the button. It helps if you push the button, it removes some friction, but it will work if you don't push the button. So this is a pretty featureful device. So we have, I think Leatherman says there's 17 tools, give or take. You have your needle nose pliers, your standard pliers. They are both spring action, so that's quite nice. Not all Leatherman tools have a spring action. Makes it extra functional. Then you have your replaceable head wire cutter. It's right here. And then you have a replaceable head hard wire cutter, which is sort of that little groove on the inside. And you just remove that little Torx head there and that one there, and you could replace your wire cutter and get a nice sharp blade back in there if you've been chewing them up. And I think that replacement's pretty cheap, maybe like 10, 12 bucks, something like that. Moving on to the non-plier tools, there's a whole bunch of them. So try to keep track, or I'll try to keep track as I explain it. You have right here, your strap cutter. There is also, Leatherman says, a oxygen tank wrench tool. Oxygen tank wrench, yeah, which is here. I've never had to open an oxygen tank wrench, so I'm not quite exactly sure how that works, but there you go. You have, and we'll stick to that one side. Here we have Phillips head screwdriver right here. On the other side, I guess I'll call this the top, we have a bottle opener. So can opener, bottle opener combo right there. This is, I'm trying to keep the serrated blades straight. This one is what they call to be the saw blade, not a serrated blade. Clearly it's a saw. Now we're moving over from the top to the bottom. I'll flip this around. You have your standard blade, and I will note that all the blades are locking. So you have this lock right here. So no non-locking blades. That's true of the saw and then also the standard blade. And then this one right here is what they call the 420HC serrated blade. Both the blades are 420HC, not the 154CM. So standard blade, serrated blade. Here we have the, and this one they call, just call it a large screwdriver. I've kind of always seen this one as being a pry wrench, but it's not. It seems like a pry, which is not very sharp, but they just call it a large screwdriver. And on the flip side, you just have your medium screwdriver, and this one's actually a good size flathead, so pretty small there. And I think that covers everything. That would have given us right around 15. There's some other miscellaneous stuff somewhere over here. What am I looking for? There is, they say there is, I'm missing on the diagram, but they say there is a cleaning rod or brush adapter, which I may not have anymore. Anyway, that is your 17 tools. It's a whole lot of stuff. The OHT is pretty interesting because it's highly functional. Everything's very easy to get at. And as far as Leatherman tools that have easy accessibility to everything in it, this one is very hard to beat, and it can be operated with the one hand, including with gloves on, which is quite nice. The trade-off for that is the device, the multi-tool is definitely on the large side. So closed, it's 4.5 inches long. Open, this is considered open, not with the knife sticking out. It's 6.6 inches long, 2.7 inch blades, so reasonable size, but relative to the device, pretty small. It is 1.6 inches wide, which can be one of the big downsides. It's not really pocketable. And then it's almost an inch thick. It's like 0.9 inches thick. So it's quite beefy. The overall device weighs 280 grams, so just about 10 ounces. So this is not very light. That's why Leatherman includes this. This is just your carrying case, and it's quite nice. Put it in your case. Highly functional, tough case. It could take a drop with this, no problem. It does have a strap right here, so it's not just for protection. You could attach that to your bag or your belt, what have you. The Leatherman OHT is, just given its size and given its weight, is probably something you would be seen under a professional set of circumstances, or really a pretty serious outing, compared to something that, you know, might be more casual use, like the Skeletal CX. It is, like, just from a volume standpoint, it's about twice the size of the Skeletal. It's significantly larger. It's just kind of a lot taller, a lot wider, a bit longer, and a lot heavier, over twice the weight of a Skeletal CX or a standard Skeletal. So you're going from a sort of a casual device that you throw in your pocket to like a very serious device that's going to be used under much more serious circumstances, like this OHT. Functionally, it works quite well. I have no problems with this device as far as just getting this in and out, and getting access to the tools is really quite good there. It has a lot of features, like all your screwdrivers and your blades. It's missing some of like the, you know, the Swiss Army knife type casual stuff, but really you have good access. You have good access to really strong screwdrivers, and everything is locking. So it has, just from a ease of access and a safety function, the OHT is really takes its job very seriously, and I think it does a good job with that. So you can see everything's locking, which is really nice to see, just from a being careful standpoint. The trade-off for that, of course, is that it's kind of bulky, right? They don't even include a pocket clip on this, because it really does have to be used with some sort of case like that. You could throw it in a bag, I guess, but there's enough moving parts to it that it's nice to keep it protected. And then the last thing I'll note about it is that this outside bit, it looks like it's plastic, but it's actually not. It is metal, so you don't have to worry about this thing taking a drop and breaking. In this sort of you know, olive drab, brown, gray color, it looks plasticky, but it is definitely metal, and there's no plastic on this OHT at all. And then you might not have noticed it with my hands in the way, but there are some indicators here of what you get, which is very cool. So we have, you can see there's a visual indicator here, which is quite cool. It kind of is, everything's rather stylized. So maybe at first glance, it just looks like there's some art or some patterning there, but it's actually an indicator of what is there. So you have your serrated blade, your flat head, your Phillips head, your saw, your blade, flat, and your can opener. So that is the OHT. It's a large device. It's a very serious device, but definitely one of the more interesting Leathermans available today.